On a cold January morning in a quiet Lancashire village, the day began in a way that felt completely ordinary. There was a school run, a familiar route, a dog walk along the river, a work call left running quietly on a phone. Fields lay pale under the winter sky, and the River Wyre moved through the landscape with its usual calm, carrying with it no sign of the confusion that was about to follow. By late morning, a spaniel was found wandering near a bench. A mobile phone sat nearby, still connected to a call, but the woman who had been walking there only minutes earlier was gone. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no confirmed sighting of her leaving the area, no clear sound, no certain witness. No simple answer waiting at the edge of the path. What followed was one of the most closely watched missing person searches in modern British memory. Police, divers, local residents, journalists, online commentators, and strangers from across the country all became part of the story in different ways. Some came to help, some came to watch, some came with theories that grew louder than the facts. And at the center of it all was not a mystery character, not a headline, not a symbol. She was a mother, a partner, a daughter, a sister, a friend. Her name was Nicola Bulley. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we are going to walk carefully through the documented case of Nicola Bulley, a true story from Lancashire in early 2023. This episode is told calmly and respectfully, with no graphic detail, no speculation presented as fact, and no attempt to turn a family tragedy into a puzzle for entertainment. This is a true crime story for sleep. But it is also a reminder of how quickly an ordinary day can become national news, and how important it is to hold on to facts when public attention becomes overwhelming. Settle in, lower the lights, and let the story unfold at a slow and steady pace. Nicola Bulley lived in Lancashire with her partner Paul Ansell and their 2 daughters. She was 45 years old and worked as a mortgage advisor. To her family and friends, she was often called Nicky. The setting of the case was St. Michael's on Wyre, a village in Lancashire, northwest England. It is a place of fields, lanes, footpaths, and water. The River Wyre runs through the landscape, close to open ground where local people often walked their dogs. On Friday, 27th January 2023, Nicola followed a familiar routine. She dropped her daughters at school. After that, she took the family dog, Willow, a Springer Spaniel, for a walk near the river. This was not unusual. It was part of the ordinary rhythm of life. At around 9:01 in the morning, Nicola joined a Microsoft Teams work call on her phone. Her camera and microphone were off. This was also not unusual. Many people listen to work calls while moving through normal morning routines. She was seen by witnesses during the walk. The timeline later became very important because investigators tried to understand a small window of time in which Nicola was no longer visible. By around 9:20 to 9:30, something had changed. Willow was found loose near a bench. Nicola's phone was on that bench, still connected to the Teams call. Her dog's harness was nearby, but Nicola was not there. The first impression was unsettling because so much of the scene looked ordinary. The phone had not been taken. The dog had not gone far. The area was quiet. There was no immediate sign of another person being involved. A passerby raised the alarm. Soon, a local search began. Then, police arrived. What began as a missing person report would quickly become a major operation. In this case, the word crime is complicated. Nicola Bulley's disappearance was initially treated as a high-risk missing person investigation. That did not mean police had evidence of a crime. It meant they were deeply concerned for her safety. From the early stages, Lancashire police said their main working hypothesis was that Nicola had entered the River Wyre. They also stated that they had found no evidence of criminal involvement. That conclusion was not immediately accepted by everyone watching from the outside. To many people, the scene seemed strange. A phone on a bench, a dog nearby, a person gone in a short stretch of time, and because the answer was not instantly visible, uncertainty created space for rumor. The village became the focus of national attention. News crews arrived. Social media accounts followed every update. People who had never been to St. Michael's on Wyre studied maps, paths, and screenshots from afar. In the middle of all of this, Nicola's family waited for answers. The real story was not a thriller. It was a search. Police searched the river and surrounding land. Specialist teams were involved, including underwater search units. CCTV was reviewed. Witnesses were spoken to. Nearby buildings and routes were checked. The effort was extensive. For more than 3 weeks, no confirmed sighting of Nicola was found after the morning of January 27th. Then, on the 19th of February, 2023, Nicola's body was found in the River Wyre, around a mile from where she had first gone missing. The news brought an end to the search, but not immediately to the questions. An inquest was opened. The purpose of the inquest was to establish who Nicola was, when and where she died, and how she came by her death. In June 2023, the inquest concluded that Nicola Bulley's death was accidental. The coroner found that she had fallen into cold water and that there was no evidence she had been harmed by anyone else. Reporting from the inquest also stated there was no evidence to suggest suicide. This was the official conclusion, not a hidden plot, not a criminal conspiracy, a tragic accident beside a river on an ordinary winter morning. To understand why the case became so widely discussed, it helps to move through the investigation slowly. The first hours were crucial. Nicola had been seen during her walk. Her phone remained on the bench. Willow was nearby. These details helped investigators narrow the likely area where something had happened. Police considered several possibilities, but they quickly focused on the river. The location of the bench, the lack of evidence that Nicola had left the area, and the absence of signs pointing to another person all shaped that working theory. Search teams looked along the riverbank. Divers searched the water. Drones, specialist officers, and other resources were used. The College of Policing's later independent review described the operational search as thorough and well-resourced, while also noting serious problems in communication and public handling. As the days passed, public attention grew. The case had many features that made it spread quickly online. It involved a mother who vanished during a routine walk. It happened in daylight. There was a narrow timeline. There was a quiet village setting. And there was one central image people kept returning to: the phone on the bench. But attention is not the same as understanding. Online speculation began to move faster than verified information. People visited the village, sometimes disrupting residents and the investigation. Some filmed near private property. Some shared theories about Nicola's family, witnesses, and the police. Many of those theories had no evidence behind them. This became one of the defining lessons of the case. A missing person investigation can be harmed by noise. Rumors can pull attention away from useful information. Families can be hurt by strangers who treat uncertainty as an invitation to accuse. Lancashire police also faced criticism. During the search, police released personal information about Nicola. The stated intention was to address speculation, but the decision was widely questioned. Later, the independent review found that although the release was lawful, it was avoidable and unnecessary. That finding matters. It shows that the case was not only about what happened to Nicola beside the river. It was also about how institutions communicate under pressure, how media attention can distort a search, and how personal dignity should be protected even when the public is demanding answers. The review also found that the investigation's high-profile nature was not handled as well as it should have been. It said the case met the definition of a critical incident, but was not declared as one, which created challenges. Still, the same review stated that none of its findings would have materially changed the outcome of the search or investigation. That is an important distinction. There were communication failures. There were lessons for policing. There was harm caused by public speculation. But the evidence still led to the same conclusion. Nicola's death was accidental. The Nicola Bulley case remains haunting, not because it was unsolved, but because it was so ordinary at the beginning. A school morning, a dog walk, a work call, a bench beside a river. These are the small details that make the case stay with people. There was no dramatic warning, no clear turning point visible from a distance, just a narrow space of time in which a normal day changed forever. For Nicola's family, the public attention added another layer to an already devastating loss. They had to search, wait, grieve, and endure speculation all at once. And perhaps that is the quiet lesson at the heart of this story. Not every unanswered moment is evidence of a secret. Not every gap belongs to the internet. Not every tragedy is a mystery waiting to be solved by strangers. Sometimes the truth is simpler, sadder, and much more human. Nicola Bulley was not a theory. She was not a headline. She was a loved person whose life mattered far beyond the circumstances of her death. The river at St. Michael's on Wyre still moves through the fields. The paths are still walked. Morning still comes softly over the village, and the story asks us to remember something gentle, but necessary. When a family is waiting for answers, facts matter. Kindness matters. Silence can sometimes be more respectful than speculation. And behind every true crime story, there is a real life that should be handled with care. Thank you for listening tonight. May this story leave you not with fear, but with a quiet reminder to move carefully through the lives of others, especially when the truth is painful and the people closest to it are still grieving. Rest well and take care.